The FOMC meeting has just taken place, and what is the effect on Bitcoin? That's what we're going to talk about today on Crypto Intel. My name is Max. Let's get started. So if we take a, let me just make myself smaller here. If we take a look at the Bitcoin price, you can see that, let's go down to the hourly. You can see that the FOMC meeting was about two or 3 hours ago. It ended, the press conference ended, and basically they haven't really done anything. They haven't changed the interest rates, and Powell was moderate in his views that cuts will probably come, but they're going to wait for the data. They're going to make sure that inflation is under control. And what that basically means is that we might not see cuts at the next meeting, which is in March. It might take until April. The market, the Bitcoin is down about 1% or so. It's not really having so much an effect on Bitcoin. But I think the larger picture, if we go back to the daily, look at this. The larger picture is that, basically, when we look at this time in the cycle, we usually have a dip. And I've said this on previous videos. If we look here at, I think this is Rec Capital's chart here. I think this is a good chart to take a look at, because you can see that in the past cycle, a few months before the halving, there's been a dip. Now, in the last cycle, it was a big dip. That was because of COVID. But in the previous cycle in 2016, it was a smaller dip, but it was a dip of around 30 to 40%. In this cycle, even if we take out the COVID, drawdown, it was still about a 30 to 40% dip. Now, the thing is, here in the cycle so far, we've not had any dips below around 20%. And I've said before that I thought that Bitcoin might just have only dips in the 20, at the most to 25%. So, that I think is still in the cards, but we do have to look at the probabilities and the possibilities. And I think that the possibilities are that Bitcoin could have a little bit more of a dip. So where would it go? I think, right here at about 38,000, that would be the next level. If it dips below 41.2, right here at this, support line. If it dips below that, I think it'll go down to around 38. And if it dips below that, let me just move this down here. The next level will be at around 33. That might move up a little bit. Yeah, around 33 or so. So, that to me would be the worst case scenario for a dip. So we do have to be ready for that. So the question is, if we do have a dip, and again, if let's just measure that out from where it was at the top here. If we go down to 38, that will be a 22% dip. Okay, we've already almost had that. We've had a 20% dip already. Okay, so it could just range like that until the halving. Now, if it goes down to 38, that's a 30%. And if it goes down to 28, that would be the next, so that would be 40%. I really doubt that we're going to see this. I think it would be more likely that if we do dip, it might just go back down to 38. Now, the possibilities are that it could go down to about a 30% dip. So we need to be prepared for that. Now, the question is, what are you going to buy? If you've bought Bitcoin when it first, this year, when it had its run up anywhere below 30,000, I wouldn't be selling any Bitcoin now, unless you had a nice run up and you want to sell a little bit to put into some other things. My objective going forward, if we do have a dip, is to buy some altcoins. So let me just take a few minutes to show you some of the altcoins that I think might have a good run if we do have a dip, and where I would buy them. So the first thing that I like to look at is in the ETH ecosystem, and right there I think TIA is one of the ones I would be most interested in. Again, if we have a dip in Bitcoin, then I would expect Celestia to dip here around $12 range. If Bitcoin goes down to the lower 30,000 area, I would expect Celestia to go down to around the $9 range, and this is where I would be buying. And Celestia is one that I want to add as an altcoin that I think is really going to do well in this upcoming bull run. So some other ones would be, I think, Arbitrum. Again, if we have a dip, I would be looking to buy Arbitrum around the $1.25, right around here. Again, this is all if Bitcoin has a dip, and I think if it's going to have a dip, it's going to happen in the next few weeks to a month, sometime in February. And then also Optimism. Again, if we have a dip, I would be interested in Optimism around $2.2. All right. So that's in the Ethereum, and I do think that Ethereum is going to be one of the narratives that really start to pick up in the first part of this bigger bull cycle that we're in. And I'm not the only one that thinks that. You can see here, this is from Mustache. He talks about how Ethereum looks a lot like it did in 2018 to 2020, where it had this ascending triangle, and it basically started to break through, and it went up right from there. And that's what seems to be happening here. So I do agree with that. Also, if you look at Cryptonova, I like her post where she talks about Bitcoin dominance. Now, you know, Bitcoin dominance, let's just take a look at the chart here for a second. It's nice to look at Bitcoin dominance for the whole of the altcoin market, because when Bitcoin dominance is going up, of course, that means that money is flowing from the altcoins into Bitcoin. But this is just an overall view. You can still make a lot of money in altcoins, even if the Bitcoin dominance is going up, and Solana is a good example of that. So really, you know, when you're looking at altcoins, you need to look at narratives, and you need to look at what has been doing great against Bitcoin. So you can see here, let's just go to Solana just to reinforce this. You can see that if we look on the Solana Bitcoin chart, you can see that over the past, since really, you know, the end of 2023, Solana has outperformed Bitcoin. Even though Bitcoin has been going up, Solana has been going up a lot faster. Now, in the past, you know, couple months, the first month or so of 2024, it's been about even with Bitcoin. But, you know, most altcoins have been lower than Bitcoin. So, you know, that's what I say is when you look at Bitcoin dominance, that is a good gauge for when a whole bunch of altcoins might be moving. If Bitcoin dominance starts to go much lower, then you're going to have a lot more opportunities in the altcoin world. But you will always have some altcoins that are going to outpace Bitcoin. So you have to look at that. Now, let's just look at a couple other. I want to look at in the gaming sector, a couple things that I'm looking for. One is Illuvium. Again, if we have a dip here, Illuvium has gone up from its $54 breakout all the way up to $118. It's come back down, and it's right now around the 618 here. You see this? And this might be a good place, but again, I'm holding off. I want to see if Bitcoin is going to have a drop, have a dump, and if it does, I'd be more interested in getting into Illuvium if it goes back down here to the $54 area. And I think Illuvium is going to do very well in this cycle as well. The other one that I think might be good is, well, two more. One is Cetify. And again, Cetify has, from its breakout at about 250, has gone all the way up to 450, has come back down, and it's ranging between the 618 and 718. If Bitcoin doesn't have a dump, I will be buying Cetify here because it's at the golden retracement zone. But if Bitcoin does have a dump, then I'd be more interested in buying it down here at 2.5, or even lower here at this next level at about 1.5 too. So these are a couple ones, and the other one is super fun. This one is ranging now. And again, I like this as a project. I think that LEO Trades is doing a lot with this project. So I would be interested in this. Not here. It's kind of like range bound. If it breaks above, if Bitcoin doesn't have a drop and these start moving again, I would be a buyer. If it breaks above 77 and comes back and retests, I would buy. Otherwise, if Bitcoin does have a dump, I'd be looking for this at around 33 cents. So let me just see if there's any others. I think in the Solana ecosystem, again, Jupiter is a trade that we really have to keep an eye on. Right now, I think it just launched today. So, we need to give it a couple of days, but I'm interested in Jupiter between 50 and 60 cents. If it started off all the way up here at $2. It's now down at, where is it? It's now down at about 67 cents. I want to give it a couple of days to level out, but if it stays between 60 and 50, I would be interested in buying Jupiter. I think Jupiter is a DEX aggregator. It's a great play for this coming bull market in the Solana ecosystem, and that would be one that I would really be interested in buying. And then finally, Bitenzor. Again, Bitenzor has been ripping. It's still ripping right now. I'm not a buyer right now. It's been going up too much. But again, if we have a dip and it gets down here, back down to about 234, I would be interested in Bitenzor. So those are some of the altcoins that I'd be looking to pick up in this next bull run. If you like the content, please give us a like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you on the next one.